Continuing the weekend on here, episode 350, we talked him into staying for some more wrestling talk. Brian Golish returning. Brian, I still can't get over after your grand entrance, and here you are. You're looking good. David Allen.
I know. Look,
you finally took my advice.
Whose knot's better? Go on Twitter, Blue Knot, American
Well, I'm not going
Flag
to try to compete with the American flag knot. That knot
Can't.
is. I'm not.
We're making CSR great again.
Oh, well,
It's even better when that other guy's down in Florida. So
well, we're going to toss to that other guy in just a little bit, and we're going to get his opinions on what we're going to talk about, which is Randy Orton. He wins the Royal Rumble. Crowd reaction, I was there live, was positive because of who he eliminated. But if you go on the internet, still many people think that was a waste of a Randy Orton win when you had all these other names.
I agree, but I also think that it might have been, looking back, hindsight 2020, that the Randy Orton choice might have been realistically the only choice they had. Corbin, Strowman, not ready. I picked in Wrestle Rumble, I picked The Undertaker, but seeing him in the shape he was in, he definitely not ready for a title match at WrestleMania. Bray Wyatt, if you're going with this Orton-Wyatt setup after the Elimination Chamber, really it's the only thing without Seth Rollins in the match, Balor unhealthy.
Well, you're right about, so many people thought, okay, all this stacked Rumble match, why Randy Orton? But you're right. A lot of these guys, come on, did you really think they're going to win? The novelty acts or part-time acts that cancel each other out. Randy Orton, I know, Juice and I had talked about it last week, and I said I really didn't want to see Randy Orton win. And the other, I think, realistic option was Chris Jericho. That's who I picked for Wrestle Rumble, and for a minute there, it looked like Jericho might do it, because I thought Jericho, again, a realistic option, Kevin Owens retains. But you're right, Orton wins, maybe not the most exciting, but certainly not the worst. We're not going to be able to truly say if this was a good decision or not for about another 60-something days. If we get to WrestleMania and it's Orton versus Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt looks the way he needs to look and walk, it still walks out as champion, and ultimately we finally push the younger star in Bray Wyatt, who we've been saying for years has not been fully utilized, then I think we go back and say, you know what, it was all good. If somewhere between now and then they derail and we don't get that, and if it's John Cena versus Randy Orton, which I don't think, then I think we go,
Well, yeah, I do not want to see John Cena, Randy Orton for the umpteenth time for the World Championship. I just think that when you look at it, and I've said this from day one with the Wyatt family, and I was wrong. I said they're never going to make it. Well, really the only one left to make it is Bray Wyatt. So I want to see Randy Orton give Bray Wyatt kind of pass the torch, even though the belt should be on Wyatt going into WrestleMania. Right. If you have him defeat Randy Orton, let him take it through the summer, take it off, take it to SummerSlam. Who he may fight at SummerSlam for that championship. If he makes it that long, I'm not sure. But I definitely think that's the way to go, have Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, and then it makes sense to have Randy Orton win the Royal Rumble.
And a piece of advice, and this is not me trying to be a smartass, but it really is, like we've had like an interesting string of Rumbles these last few years, dating back, really the string started back here in Pittsburgh at the famous Batista win. Brian doesn't show up in the Rumble match, CM Punk ends, and they're going back to Philly next year. So this advice I want to give you fans. We are at the point to where we have shows like this, and we all have 140 characters to type. We have so much fantasy and speculation, and so many, we think about every possible surprise that could show up. And yes, WWE at times could certainly put more effort, or maybe throw a few more, get your rocks off for a couple minutes, random surprises in the Rumble match. But ultimately, we got to remember next year to stop putting so much pressure on them via our own fantasies, because then you're setting yourself up for an automatic disappointment. Some of you that get in that mindset. Me, I went in, sure, I would have loved to see a few. I don't care if it's the Boogeyman. I don't care if it's Gilbert. I wanted to see a few surprises. We didn't really get that, but I don't think it was a failure of a Rumble by any means.
Well, and then the last thing I want to say to that point is the fact that when you look at, we had the Goldberg-Brock Lesnar encounter, that sets up their WrestleMania match. You don't know what they're going to do with Roman Reigns, Undertaker, or Braun Strowman. Baron Corbin looked strong in the match. Yeah. Progress him moving forward on the SmackDown brand. So, but again, I think, like you said, Batista, Reigns, no one wanted to see that, but that's what you got. At least this time, that guy came in number 30. He didn't walk out going to WrestleMania number 1. And I think at the end of the day, the fans can't complain, because the only person they did not want to see was Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns made that execution work. If Orton eliminates him as anybody else, then it's a different kind of reaction in the Alamo Dome. You've heard Goulish's thoughts. You've heard my thoughts. Josh Eisenberg down in Fort Lauderdale. Randy Orton wins the Royal Rumble. What you got?
Who do I got? Well, I looked at the Royal Rumble. I was interested in seeing if you would actually have a part-time guy win, such as Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker. I could have made a case for all three of those, and I think everybody thought for some reason The Undertaker was going to walk out and challenge for a championship at WrestleMania. But looking at Randy Orton as the winner, I actually would have reversed the thought process of what people were saying, that Bray Wyatt's going to win the championship at Elimination Chamber and then be the champion challenging Randy Orton at WrestleMania. I actually would have had Bray Wyatt win because I think the crowd would have loved a Bray Wyatt victory. Everybody's been wanting Bray Wyatt to have that one big moment, and why not at the Royal Rumble and then challenge for the championship at WrestleMania when Randy Orton could potentially win it inside the Elimination Chamber. So I thought that would be a better storyline, but I'm still not 100% sold on a Bray Wyatt-Randy Orton championship match. I can still see, with how things are changing, it seems every day with scripting now, the rumors of John Cena being paired with Nikki Bella against The Miz and Maurice, which I think is ridiculous. I actually wouldn't mind a Randy Orton versus AJ Styles match. Now, the scripting and the booking is going to be a little bit more difficult, but since Randy Orton is already the guy who's going to be challenging for the championship, it doesn't really matter what kind of story you put together. I mean, Randy Orton can have a very similar story as AJ Styles and John Cena, a guy that's been in WWE for such a long time, a guy that has accomplished everything in WWE, and then AJ Styles, who's been here for literally 1 year. I want AJ Styles to have the best match possible, and it's going to see what happens with Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt where AJ Styles fall. Now, whenever you guys talk about, we want to see Randy Orton, that's okay if you want him to win as long as it makes Bray Wyatt look strong. What about Luke Harper? Luke Harper has been a guy as just as productive as Bray Wyatt in the ring, and I think Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, and Luke Harper can easily put together a very interesting storyline. But at the end of the day, I don't care what happens, but I do think Bray Wyatt needs to come out looking strong. I agree with you guys. No matter which way they get to it, whether it's Bray Wyatt winning and retaining after Elimination Chamber and heading into WrestleMania, or whether you have Randy Orton facing somebody else and Bray Wyatt somehow gets involved, I'm not sold on a one-on-one championship match at WrestleMania. I think there could be multiple pieces somehow. AJ Styles can still get his rematch. Bray Wyatt could potentially be champion. A wild card could be thrown in with somebody like The Miz. You never know, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing right now when you're heading into February and you're still not 100% health, even 50% sure who your champion is going to be at SmackDown heading into WrestleMania Orlando. Stick around at Josh Eisenberg 4. Follow me, tweet me. There is more Chair Shot Reality coming right up.